Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. There's a lot to cover today. When I go on the air on the mainstream today, which is 6 a.m. Eastern, every weekday morning, taking live calls, I got a lot to cover. And the two big topics I'm going to talk about. The first one is the gift of the plane from Qatar. And sorry, guys, my throat's a little dry. And why Trump's taking the plane. We'll talk a little bit about here. And this never-Trumper, Ben Shapiro, going after the president. And another big story I'm going to cover are these refugees from South Africa and why the left are having meltdowns over them. And you get a little preview here in the pre-morning show stream as to what I'm going to be talking about. Now, today I am driving to the radio station. I have to go up to the radio station today. I can't broadcast from home. I have some things I got to do at the radio station today after the show. So I am heading up there. Plus, I've got someone coming in studio too as well. So I've got a bit of a drive ahead of me, so you guys can join me on my drive to the radio station. I just pulled out of my development, so you can kind of see how far I have to drive to get to the radio station. I'm going to take a different way today than I normally take, just to see if it shaves some time and effort off the drive, since I got to come up here once a week for the next few weeks. And this is the first time I've been up here in, I don't know, two or 3 weeks. But anyway, first I'll talk about the white South African refugees. And, you know, obviously, I mean, come on. Elon Musk is a great American, but an immigrant, a naturalized U.S. citizen from South Africa. And perhaps Elon Musk has really brought to President Trump's attention what the white South Africans are going through and have been going through for years. And the reason that the liberals in this, it's so simple, no one wants to say it. I want to play some of the audio of these leftist lunatics from the fake news legacy media today on the air about the South Africans. But the reason that they're opposing bringing the white South Africans to the United States, it's not because of the deportations. That's the politically correct answer, you know, with the illegals here. The reason that they don't want them here is because they're white, and they believe that white people should be mistreated and have their land stolen and be murdered. I mean, that's just the reality. In fact, one of the clips I'm going to play, audio from both CNN and MSNBC about the white South Africans. One of them talks about how, well, you know, these are the descendants of the apartheid. Apartheid's been over for decades. I remember when it ended, but Mandela was freed and everything. And I can't remember exactly how old I was then, but I was either in high school or just out of high school. Maybe you could tell me in the chat what year that was. I don't remember what year exactly. I remember watching live on TV Mandela being released from prison, and it was a big deal. All programming was preempted, and when he came out, he looks like you know him now, this little skinny man. And no one had seen Mandela the whole time he had been in prison publicly. And when he went to prison, he was a big, muscular, huge guy. And he came out this little skinny thing looking like Obama. And it was shocking. But, liberals believe, even white liberals believe, that white people deserve to be punished, which is insane to me. But that's how they view it. And they don't want to get into it. So I'm gonna cover that on the show today. Saying that it's about the deportations and closing down the border with the illegals, that is not true. That's a cover to hide their racism. against these white South Africans, and these are true refugees that are having their lives literally taken from them, having their property stolen. Everybody knows what they're going through. It's god awful. The illegals from South America were coming up here just to retire and live off the government for the rest of their lives, off of the social welfare. And remember what the liberals said? They were fleeing climate change. What a BS thing. Fleeing climate change. What a bogus lie that was. So I'm going to cover that. That's going to be the second story I cover. But the first one, I have the video there, and it has President Trump from Butler, Ben Shapiro, and the Qatar airplane. And, the reason that Trump is taking this plane from Qatar, it's pretty simple. Right now, it's a gift. Presidents get gifts all the time. And I'm watching all this coverage. Excuse me, guys. I'm watching all this coverage about the Qatar plane. And nobody hits on the issues. I don't know why. Do they not know? Or are they just clickbaiting and plagiarizing each other? I don't know. But presidents get gifts all the time. All the time. Mostly small, tiny gifts. And they don't keep any of them. All the gifts they get are the property of the United States government, like this plane will be. And oftentimes they're put on display in their presidential museums. Sometimes they're put in warehouses. But the presidents don't keep any of the gifts they're given. That's just the way it is while they're president. So the plane will be just like that. It'll be a gift. And I would not be surprised if, he said, the president said they're going to put it in the Trump Museum, which I truly hope is here in Florida near Mar-a-Lago. I believe it will be, because I've been talking for years. When I am an old man and retired, I'm going to volunteer to be a tour guide at the Trump Presidential Library and Museum. And I could do that if it's here in Florida. Because I'm going to live here in Florida for the rest of my life. And that's how I plan on spending my senior years, is putting my history degree to work and be a tour guide, or maybe even a presidential historian. But I want to be a tour guide at the Trump Presidential Museum. And having lived through it, I think I will be a great educator to people who come to the Trump Presidential Museum. I could tell them all about it. But I wouldn't be surprised in the future. There will be a day when there's a Democrat president again, hopefully after I'm dead, but there'll be one again. And they'll snatch that plane out of his museum probably. But presidents get gifts all the time. I have been to a couple of presidential museums, and they often have gifts there from that presidents have been given. Now, this is obviously a larger gift than usual. But the reason that Trump is taking the plane from Qatar is so simple, and no one has really touched on it that I've heard talking about it. Boeing has been delaying the delivery of this plane. All right? It was supposed to be delivered this year. President Trump approved it in his first term. And if you remember, Boeing was coming in like a USAID deal and wanted just an insane amount of money to build the new Air Force Ones. And President Trump worked out a new deal, worked out a pretty good deal. Boeing was pissed because they were planning on ripping off the federal treasury. And he also wants to repaint Air Force One in the great red, white, and blue with the stars and stripes on it, as opposed to this blue and white crap that they started when Kennedy was president, when Air Force One kind of became a thing. And Boeing they don't want to give Trump the plane. Elon Musk is working with Boeing now to try to speed it up. President Trump took a tour at Palm Beach Airport on one of these Boeing planes, and they just don't want to give him the plane. because they're pissed off at him, Boeing. So he's taking this plane from Qatar to stick it to Boeing for screwing him over and screwing the country over with the new Air Force Ones. That's it. He's embarrassing them. See, Boeing, and now this plane from Qatar is a Boeing aircraft, the Boeing 747, right? It is a Boeing plane, but it's not the new one they've built. And Boeing takes great pride in building and providing the Air Force Ones. And while this is a Boeing plane, it wasn't custom built for Air Force One. And it's just to stick it to them. Maybe get a little competition going. You know, competition breeds success. That's what it's all about. If Boeing would get off their ass and do the right thing, Trump wouldn't be taking the plane. That's why he's taking it. And by the way, why should he turn it down? I don't know. He said yesterday, is that $1 billion aircraft? Maybe more. With all the luxurious things it has in it. Who would turn something like that down? Would you turn down a free $1 billion aircraft? You know, Mr. Beast here on YouTube gave away a plane. And I saw him talking about it after. He said the person that he gave the plane to, that won the plane on the Mr. Beast video, whatever it was, a Mr. Beast challenge, they actually sold the aircraft so they could pay the taxes on it, because you got to pay the gift taxes, you know. And they walked away with a lot of money. So who would turn down a $1 billion plane? And why should the United States turn down a $1 billion plane? It's just insane. So those are the two main issues that I'm going to open with today. I'm on I-95, which I don't normally take. I'll be coming up to the Mar-a-Lago exit in just a bit. I'll show you guys the Mar-a-Lago exit. I don't usually take 95, but I'm taking it today to see if it shaves off some time to my drive to the radio station. It's a bit of a drive, I'm here to tell you. When I get to the Mar-a-Lago exit, I'll turn the camera around and show you the exit to Mar-a-Lago. And when the Mar-a-Lago exit, I'm on I-95. I'm going to go under a bridge. That's the bridge the president drives over every time he goes to or from Air Force One to Mar-a-Lago, because it's right by the airport. And it's a real short drive to Mar-a-Lago from this exit. Let's see, where am I? I'll get an idea of how far away. I got a little ways to go. I just got on 95, so. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. So, when I talk about the plane, I'm going to talk a little bit about this never Trumper, Ben Shapiro. And he's just, you know, he's just a jerk. I mean, you know, yesterday, the president, I mean, the accomplishments of President Trump this week are absolutely amazing. And one of the great accomplishments is getting the last American hostage freed from Hamas in Gaza, who's a Jewish American. And instead of celebrating that, Ben Shapiro trashes Trump. You know, he was a never-Trumper in the first campaign. He's always been a never-Trumper. Everything Trump has done for Israel and continues to do for Israel, and Ben Shapiro just craps all over him. He is a never-Trumper through and through. And you know, one of the things about Ben Shapiro, it's let's see here. Okay, I'm quite a ways from the exit, but I will get there. The Lago exit. I just passed a sign that told me how far. I'll be there in a few minutes. But he's a never-Trumper, and he's causing a lot of problems. You know, I'm a strong supporter of Israel. Ben Shapiro's a strong supporter of Israel, but he's a never-Trumper. And there's so much anti-Semitism going on in the United States. And as crazy as this will sound to people, and I'll explain this, one of the leading causes of anti-Semitism in the United States today is, in fact, Ben Shapiro, for a couple of reasons. And I know that sounds nuts, but it's true. Ben Shapiro is a very unlikable guy. In fact, I don't think he has any redeeming qualities. Just because I agree with him on one issue, although it's a big, important issue, he's just unlikable. He is an unpleasant personality. And a lot of people don't like him because he's just not likable. The only reason his program's popular is because the Daily Wire has spent millions of dollars advertising it on different platforms, pushing it to everyone. And he's just an unlikable person. And a lot of people confuse their dislike of Ben Shapiro with disliking Jews. He's a very bad representative of the pro-Israeli position in this country because he's such an unlikable person. And, you know, Candace Owens is probably the most vocal anti-Semite in America today. And I think there's a lot of that is is true with Candace Owens. And what I mean by that is Candace Owens hates Ben Shapiro. I mean, she obviously, a lot of things went down at the Daily Wire that we don't know about. And non-competes and such stop her from talking about Ben Shapiro. So she takes her anger out on Ben Shapiro on Israel. And that's led to her being such a vocal anti-Semite. It's not the only, I mean, I'm sure she didn't care for Jews too much prior, but it's just really lit a fire under her about it. You know, to be a personality, you've got to have some redeeming qualities. Even if you're watching like a movie or a television, I'll give you a great example, okay? You guys remember The Shield with Michael Chiklis? Very good show. And I got to meet him. I was on a plane with Michael Chiklis the first time I went to LA to visit my daughter about a year and a half ago. I was pretty excited to meet him. I was a big fan of that show. And that character that he played, Mackie, in The Shield, was a despicable person. I mean, he murdered people. He murdered cops. He murdered a cop in his own unit. But he had redeeming qualities. He was doing everything for his family. He had a daughter that had a mental disability, Down syndrome or something. And what they call that in the movies and in television shows are anti-heroes. Anti-heroes. Despicable people who do terrible things, but you still like them because they have some redeeming qualities. Another example is Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano is a monster. Murderer, cheats on his wife, all these things, has people whacked for nothing. But he's an anti-hero, right? He had redeeming qualities. That's why one of the reasons they ended the show the way they did. They ended that show the way they did because they were planning. They didn't know he was going to die, and they thought they might do some movies or something with him. But anyway, Ben Shapiro has no redeeming qualities at all. And Israel has been fighting for its survival. And for him being one of the most vocal, prominent American voices in support of Israel is not helping Israel. Ben Shapiro is, in fact, I think, hurting Israel, PR-wise, because he's such an unlikable person. He's not liked by the left, and he's not liked by MAGA. So those are a couple of the topics I'm going to cover when I go live on the radio in a little more than an hour. just over an hour. I haven't taken I-95 to the radio station in a long time. I take it home, usually, but not there. But I don't know if this is faster or not, but it certainly might be a less exhausting of a drive because there's no lights or stop and go like I have when I take the back roads there. Now, when I get to the, I'm coming up soon to the Mar-a-Lago exit. Now, I'll turn the camera around and show you guys. This is the, the road to Mar-a-Lago from the airport where President Trump parks Air Force One, and then before that, Trump Force One. So every time you see the president fly in or out of Palm Beach to Mar-a-Lago, this is the road that he takes, and I'm going to go under a bridge, and above me is the road that the president drives to and from Air Force One on, going to and from Mar-a-Lago. And Mar-a-Lago is a real quick drive from the airport, just takes a couple minutes. About 3 miles from the exit. 3 3/4 miles on the exit. Now, right now where I'm at on I-95, I was driving here a couple weeks ago, and I was going southbound, and, there's a couple of airports south of Palm Beach, and I saw one of the cabinet secretaries go by. You'll see them every once in a while driving here on 95 because they have the Secret Service SUVs and they have a small motorcade with police. So every once in a while I'll see a cabinet secretary driving here to go to Mar-a-Lago. If they're not with the president on Air Force One, a lot of times they fly on smaller planes that land at some of the other airports south of here for private planes. Air Force One lands at Palm Beach International Airport, which is just a regular airport. Okay, we're 2 miles from the exit, so I'm going to get over out of the left lanes to show it to you better. It's Southern Boulevard is the name of the road. Southern Boulevard, if you want to look it up. It's the road from Mar-a-Lago to the airport, and it's a straight drive. And if you stay on that road, right at the airport, Southern Boulevard, that I'm going to go by in a moment. Not only does it go past Mar-a-Lago on the south side of it, but then it curves north, and you're on the beach road, A1A, you drive right in front of it. I did a video a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. I went to the McDonald's that the president goes to by Mar-a-Lago. Okay, so right here, we're a mile away from the Mar-a-Lago exit, Southern Boulevard, right there. Hopefully this doesn't turn into a turning lane. I can't remember, but these people are going too slow. So yeah, so I see cabinet secretaries with their Secret Service details drive here all the time. Okay, so this is the exit, Southern Boulevard. Now of course, I'm heading due north. Mar-a-Lago is to the right, which is east. And the airport where Air Force One parks, Palm Beach International, is to the left. So here it is. When the president comes here, they have all these exits and the roads closed. This bridge I'm going under is the road that the president drives over to and from Air Force One. And that's it. And it parks right over here at the airport. Now this next exit that's coming up, Okeechobee Boulevard, that's the exit to the EIB studios where Rush Limbaugh did his show. So think about it. When Don Jr. and Eric and all those people go to Mar-a-Lago to and from, they drive right here where I'm at right now. Now this half a mile, Okeechobee Boulevard, this is the exit, Okeechobee Boulevard, to Rush Limbaugh's EIB Studios, which I think are now, it's either an insurance or a real estate office, I've forgotten. Right there, Okeechobee Boulevard, downtown Palm Beach. You can get there on that road too, where Mar-a-Lago is, but the EIB Studios are right off of this road, right there. Think about all the times Rush drove right where I'm at. Oh my goodness. All right, now let me get back on track. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian. This is where manga comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe, guys. So my guess is that President Trump's presidential museum will be somewhere near there. He's going to want it somewhere near Mar-a-Lago, would be my guess. So you can see why I use my home studio. I just have to walk across the hall from my bedroom. I'm in my studio, as opposed to this long-ass drive. I'm heading to Starbucks. There's a Starbucks up here that opens at 5 a.m. And they make pretty good coffee. Got about 5 or 6 miles to my exit. Yeah, this is it's faster than I normally take. It shaves a lot of time off of the drive, I can tell. So the days I have to go up here, I'm going to take this way for sure. I'm 4 miles from my exit. When I stop at Starbucks before I go in, I will take a look at the chat. And don't forget, guys, if you'd like to support my channel, go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Kane. Check out, huge deal right now on the 100% Giza cotton dream sheets, which I sleep on every night of my marital bed. Huge deal. All sizes, all colors, no matter how big. California king, split king, queen, king, single twin, same low price, under $50 with my promo code Kane. And that goes for any color as well. And that's Kane at checkout at mypillow.com. Mike Lindell's been a sponsor of mine for many years. And that's because you in this audience use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. So thank you for doing that in advance. Great deals going on right now. just 2 miles from the exit or so. Yeah, it is much faster taking I-95. I think I'll not take that other way again on the days I come up here. It's been a while since I've driven up here. I can't remember. Last time I was at the radio station might have been 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure. This is a much shorter drive time-wise. Oh my goodness. This shaves about half an hour off the drive time going this way, so in the future this is the way I'll go. I'm going to be early to the radio station. Well, that's fine. I'll get set up. I'll probably start in my other stream early, since I'll be there early. Getting off of 95 now. Here's a guy on a motorcycle. That's not even a motorcycle. That's a scooter. No, or is it a motorcycle? I can't tell if it's a motorcycle or a scooter on I-95. No freaking way. You should not be riding motorcycles or scooters on I-95. Very dangerous. I'd never do that. Mine is big enough to take on a short trip on I-95. I'd never do it. I've not been to this Starbucks in a long time. It's in Florida. We have palm trees everywhere. Boy, is this place lit or what? Got a lot of lights going on here. At least they used to be open at 5. I'm not sure if they still are. I'll find out in a minute. Welcome, everyone. No, I get a venti hot blonde Americano with cream. Hillary is, someone said, how's sending Hillary to prison going? Hillary's living in a prison, all right? She's living in a prison. She has to live the rest of her life in a house with President Clinton. That's prison for her, believe me. They hate each other, the Clintons. I'll never get tired of winning. Who's tired of winning? Mm-mm. Who could be tired of winning? I'm not tired of winning. I'm going to put the phone down while I go in to get my coffee, guys, okay? Do you mind? Not at all. I'm sure you don't. I'll just put it down here, and I'll be back. Oh boy, I tell you. Well, that was a disaster. Usually when I go into Starbucks, you know, I leave my MAGA hat behind. Okay. So, and the reason I do that is because, you know, you got a lot of liberal lunatics that work in Starbucks. And this, you know, this Trump 2028 hat triggers wokesters like no one's business. I don't know what it is about this Trump 2028 hat, but I went in there and they practically shit their pants when they saw this hat. Okay. And I forgot, and I could see it on their faces. And I was like, oh, you know, shouldn't have worn the hat in there. So, but I did. And I mean, you should have seen their faces. They looked horrified. So I order my coffee, venti, hot blonde Americano. She asked me what I wanted 3 times. She's like, what? Excuse me, sir? I mean, she was like, this one woman that took my order was like so confused because the Trump 2028 hat. So she said, okay, they made my coffee. Say, you know, venti hot blonde Americano. It's ice cold. Okay, ice cold. Venti hot blonde Americano. It's hot coffee. It's ice cold. And I said to her, it's cold. It's ice cold. Can you make me another one? I don't know. I was nice about it. And she says, oh, our espresso's not working. Nothing's working. Total bullshit. So they didn't charge me for it. But I don't even think it's got freaking, I think she gave me cold decaf. It doesn't have the espresso shots in it. So I'm going to another Starbucks and I'll leave the MAGA hat in the car. Unflippin' believable. And the problem is I got to be on the air in 45. This one's out of the way. I got to get back on I-95, go 1 exit north. And I'm not sure if they may not open till 5:30, which is 14 minutes from now. So I'm going to have to wait for them to open. There were 2 women working in the Starbucks. And I walked in with this hat. You should have seen their faces. They were horrified. Horrified. The next exit's just a mile up, but there's a Starbucks not too far from the exit. That's the tolerant liberals for you. That's why I always take my MAGA hat off. And a lot of time when I go into Starbucks, and in the mornings if I'm wearing a Trump t-shirt, you know, I'll have a jacket on. I'll have a hoodie on or my members only jacket because these baristas, they'll screw me like they just did. That coffee I just got there's not, they did not charge me for it. I will say they did not charge me for it, but it's not drinkable. I mean, calm the freak down, man. I mean, geez, they're freaking lunatics. And they think we're the intolerant ones. And I don't think I don't think they gave me this bad coffee to spite me. I think that they were so thrown off by the Trump 2028 hat, they couldn't do it. She was like nervous. She was practically shaking, taking my order. I mean, what the freak? Bunch of snowflakes. So here I am going to another Starbucks out of the way, and my time at this early hour of the morning before I go on the air is very valuable time. Freaking insane. And I know there's probably people in the chat room say, well, don't go to that liberal place. The reason I've talked about this for years, okay? I'm a coffee addict. I need lots of coffee. And I've cut my coffee in half, but in the mornings, the Venti Hot Blonde Americano has 4 shots of espresso in it, okay? Is this where it's at? I've not been here in a long time to this Starbucks. I believe it's, yes. And I can get it for less than $5. To get 4 shots of espresso for just $4 is pretty cheap. That, espresso, sometimes we call it Cuban coffee here in Florida. But this Starbucks, last time I was up here, did not open till 5:30. Oh my goodness, there's an Outback Steakhouse here. I'm not sure what time the Starbucks opens, but I'll be sure to leave the Trump 2028 hat in the car this time. I won't make that mistake. Does not look like they're quite open yet, so I got a few minutes. I don't have time for this in the mornings. The radio station's probably 5 or 10 minutes from here, so it's not like I'm that far from the radio station, but, How's it a bribe? Presidents get gifts all the time. Well, the hat just totally freaked him out. I know. I mean, they were. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. The look on their face. They were totally freaked out at this hat. Order online. Now, the reason I don't order online is sometimes when I'm in there, they have a section where the online orders go. And I see people come in. Sometimes they'll touch every freaking cup right on the top. They'll pick it up like this to see if it's their name on it. So unless you're right there, you could have multiple people putting their hand right over the top where you put your mouth on the coffee. So no, I don't do that. Now I'm gonna go see if they're open. I don't think they open till 5:30. Hold on, I'll be back. I better leave the. Oh, almost forgot to take the Trump hat off. They're not open yet. Well, I'm going to throw out this. They open at 5:30. All right. Yeah, I mean, the look on their faces was utter terror at this sign. I mean, at this hat. Just makes no sense whatsoever. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. They open in 6 minutes. Yes, I'm back. Why would you say that, Alpha, about Trump supporters? Why would you say that? It's terrible. That's right, MAGA for life. Absolutely. USA, correct. Of course, we love our Constitution. What would make you say that we don't support and love our Constitution? Right? I don't understand why. You know, a lot of these liberals keep saying we don't respect the Constitution. What are they talking about? He can have another term. Absolutely, he can. No, the Starbucks around here do not have drive-thrus. So it took me less time to drive up here the way I took, but it's taking the same amount of time because I've got all this coffee crap problems. Clyde says, all right, scholar, tell us how he gets a third term. You amend the Constitution, allowing more terms than 2. That's what you do. You don't have to be a scholar to know that. Constitution's been amended, I think, 27 times. So there you go. Simple. Constitution's been amended many times. Yes, the Starbucks in California. You know, when I go to see my daughter in LA, some of their Starbucks are open 24 hours in LA. Some open at 4 a.m. I've been on the air for over 30 years. So I've been doing what I'm doing now since George Bush 1 was in office. That's correct, HP. The Constitution's been amended 27 times. No, it's not grifting. It's called earning a living. By the way, if you're new, make sure that you subscribe, guys, all right? John McCain would have been the worst. Yeah, I tell you what that guy did. He almost sunk an aircraft carrier in Vietnam, an American aircraft carrier. So, at the beginning of the stream, I talked about a couple things I want to talk. My next stream, I'll be live on the radio in half an hour, although I'm going to be running late. I want to talk about the airplane deal, which is hilarious and beautiful, and Trump should take the damn plane. And I'm also going to cover this liberal hate towards these refugees from South Africa. There's a lot of other things I want to cover too, but those are the 2 main stories I'm going to cover today. And then, of course, take your calls. When I go live in about 30 minutes, I take live calls. So you can call me live on the air. This just sucks. This is messing up everything. But my time in the morning is very, very precious because I got to set up everything for the YouTube feed. This Starbucks used to open at 5, but not anymore. This is my phone that doesn't work, except I do my other live stream on it. Okay. 5:29. I always wait till 31 minutes after, because they'll never have it open at 5:30, these baristas. As soon as I walked into that Starbucks and saw their faces, I remembered I had the Trump 2028 hat on. I mean, they were just like horrified. You would think I walked in to rob the place. They were so terrified. It was so ridiculous. Snowflake millennial, and one looked like a millennial, the other one looked like Gen Z. Just total snowflakes. Total snowflakes. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe, all right? We have quite a few mosques in the United States, surprisingly. Oh, Jen Psaki, her show's a disaster. You know, a lot of people are talking about her low ratings. They don't care about her ratings. They care about her agenda. All right, Starbucks is open, so I'm going to go in and get my Starbucks. I'll be right back, guys. All right, now that is hot and how it's supposed to be. Well, welcome everyone, and what a waste of time. You know, my schedule is so busy that I don't get overwhelmed, but I have everything planned out to the minute on my schedule, especially in the morning before I go on the air, but even throughout the day. And this added another 30 minutes. I took, you know, it's so typical. I drove a shorter way to get to the radio station to shave 30 minutes off my time. And it's going to end up being the same amount of time. And then I would have stopped at the Starbucks I normally go to when I go to the radio station, which is no problem at all. Oh my God! Now I'm north of the radio station, so I don't know, about maybe 5 minutes away. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for joining me. Oh my goodness, what a morning. You see what I mean? Like if I use my home studio, it's like without effort, right? This is a lot. I've been on the road an hour and 10 minutes before I go on the air, and I'm still not there yet. And it's exhausting, and it's time I could spend show prepping or and I woke up today at 1:30 a.m. I set my alarm for 1:30. But I wake up before my alarm. And I lay there for a few minutes, and the alarm goes off, so then I get up. See, I would have been already set up and ready to go with the radio station if it wasn't for all this woke panic that went on. It was so funny because I've been burned at 2 of the Starbucks in my neighborhood. They always give me shitty coffee because remember I was around the election, I was live streaming from Starbucks on the weekends, and they're not MAGA. So the Starbucks I go to for my coffee, I don't reveal where those are, and I'm kind of undercover MAGA, so I can get proper coffee, because you see what happens. This coffee here, they did fine. I knew when she started to hand me that coffee at the first Starbucks that it was not going to be good, because with the 4 espresso shots, it takes time to do it. So I knew she didn't make all the espresso shots. I'll have to tell that story on the radio. So you guys, if you watch me here on YouTube early, you get a preview. But it's a funny thing when 30 years ago when I started this job, I didn't, I'm in like a nice neighborhood now. I live in a nice neighborhood. The radio station, this is a very upscale neighborhood. PGA International is right here and everything, so it's a very nice area. In fact, that Starbucks I just left was on a road called PGA Boulevard, where the PGA National course is and everything. But when I was first starting out, I didn't make a lot of money, didn't have a lot of money. I lived in a total shithole place. And it was a bad neighborhood I lived in. And the radio station I was on then was in a bad neighborhood. And the things that would happen on the way to work, oh my goodness. It's a little different. Now the biggest problems I run into is getting my, decaffeinated cold coffee from Starbucks. Before I'd run into, I walked in on an armed robbery at a gas station, prostitutes, drug dealers, all kinds of things would go on. All right, I am at the radio station, in the radio station parking lot, and I got to be on the air in 20 minutes. So I got to go and get set up. Time is short. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe, and I'll see you on the next stream in just a few minutes, all right? I'll start the next stream pretty quick. Take care.